A major topic that comes up around this time of year is depression. The holidays can be very difficult. This is probably the most Christmas spirit I have been in for many, many years. And to the point of even rejecting all of the holidays from after Halloween. I could celebrate Halloween and then rejected all the holidays clear until the 4th of July. And that was for many, many years. Many people have said, stop being the Grinch, Shar. And this year my heart has grown 3 times the size. Thanks, Chandler. I know you're watching. I see you out there. But depression is pretty intense, especially in Utah. We have all of that beautiful, thick air that we're breathing in. And many other states use this time of year to hunker down, and they do. I got to live in Maine for a few years, and during the winter season, they close everything down in a third the amount of snow that we get, and they just hunker down and spend that time internally, which is an important part of the winter. And the season. We are adjusting our internal, just like a tree. So a tree during the wintertime, after it loses its leaves, the branches adjust themselves to receive the maximum amount of light so that in spring they can all be seen. And so that internal work that is taking place is a very important part of the season. But a lot of people really reject that and don't want to go in deep. What is inside of me? Does it scare you?
Yeah.
Or, or is it one of your favorite places to be?
Now it's one of my favorite places to be.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, so tying that in with like the seasons. So with the seasons, I've always enjoyed the holidays, but the winter time for me was always SADS, the seasonal depression with the winter. And so it was almost like I would get depressed because I was afraid to go internal. And when that shifted for me was I went internal, and now I don't feel like I've had the seasonal depression for the last 2 years. I did live in St. George for 4 years, so there was no seasonal there.
But it still is.
Yeah,
especially in Utah, there's 4 distinct different seasons. Even in St. George, that's a fun place to enjoy the 4 seasons.
Yes, very true. It still does have 4 seasons. But so for me, your original question was
like what? Yeah. So here you were experiencing this heaviness, and then something shifted.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So going back, so the moment, because we were talking about this, and she was like, "Did you used to have SADS?" I was like, "Yeah, I did," but I seriously had forgotten about it because when I shifted out of it, so what connected for me was the more that I was able to go internal and to discover who I've always been, but what was actually there, because I was so afraid to look inward because I thought it was all pain. I thought it was all more depression.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to go inward, but the more I went inward, yes, that stuff was there, but what I found underneath all of that was who I am. And so the more, every year, the more and more I learn more about who I am. And I keep on saying more. There's always more. Growth. Yes.
And we enjoy that. We really enjoy being expanded. Not everybody enjoys how much expansion we can offer.
Yeah.
But often, well, okay, that's beside the point. Let's keep going. I know.
Yes. So yeah, that's it. So for
Squirrel.
me, being able to shift on looking inward, but also seeing the beauty, the yin and the yang. Like there was that I went into with working through all of those beliefs and the pain that was in there and the depression. Yet along with that, I found the light. I found more and more who I am, and I continue to do that. And I'm still, you have both sides.
Yeah.
But the seasonal depression, I literally have not experienced the last, I would say, 2.5 years. Well, there's only 2 seasons of that. So the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
The last 2 winter seasons.
But this is your third one?
Yeah.
This is your third one.
Yes. So this is my third one. And being up back in the northern part of Utah where it's actually cold and snowing. Yeah, last year I didn't have my typical seasonal depression because I'm more me than I have ever been. And being more me, I've had the joy and the love and the passion of...
And the shiny.
Yes.
You shine.
Yeah, so I've had that instead of... I didn't even realize that until we started talking about this, but yeah.
I celebrate that to the max. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. One of the cycles of depression is feeling depressed is a negative emotion, but every emotion has a frequency. And depression is roughly somewhere in the middle. And as you work up out of depression, a higher frequency in the negative scale, if you want to think of it that way, is anger. So most people will not allow themselves to even feel anger. And so then the moment that people start to feel anger, they immediately go to the lowest frequency possible, which in emotions, which is guilt and shame. And then it takes that energy keeps somebody stuck more than any other energy. And it is very tar-like energy to move through and to get through. And so moving back up to depression, you feel better. And this is going to feel better than guilt and shame any day. So I would much rather, oh no, I don't even want to say it that way. But I understand why people would want to be depressed instead of guilt and shame during this season. And so the moment that people start to feel this anger, I highly suggest jumping into that, allowing yourself to feel anger, maybe for the first time. And if you have questions about anger, write it down. Let's figure it out. It's one of my favorite energies. Launchpad. Yes, I love you enough to allow you to be as angry as you need to be so that you can get through that launch and be where you want to be. Depression sucks until you understand that it is a part of deep relaxation. So if I'm allowing myself to go into this deep relaxation, to hunker down and spend some time with just me, many branches shift and everything can receive that light. Are you thinking of something?
Well, no. So I think, yeah. So what you're saying basically is breaking out of depression, allow yourself, because it's that cycle of going down to guilt and shame and then the depression, but then you go right back down because it's okay. It's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to be angry.
It's not. That is the one energy that was absolutely avoided. Or if we were angry, you're a really bad person.
Yeah.
And I really had to go back to the discussion that we had about the volcano. We need to have those kinds of releases. One of a really good way to release that is yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Notice children when they're yelling. It's usually through play.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly suggest going outside and scream play with your kids. One thing that I'm really known for is anytime that we go through a tunnel, we have to scream the whole way we're in that tunnel. And it is amazing what is released during that tunnel space.
Yes. Okay.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say. Sorry.
You're right. I'm not sorry. Okay. So we've talked about being able to shift in joy and love and play instead of pain.
Yes.
So the kids, when they're yelling while they're playing, they are releasing that anger, but they're choosing to do it in a playful and loving way.
Yes.
Instead of getting into, I'm so angry at myself, so I need to, because I used to go into the space of beating myself up if I was angry, but I still knew I needed to get the anger out. And so it was almost like I was in guilt and shame while I was trying to get the anger out. So that, okay, yeah. So.
And yelling is a natural part of the body. Enough about yelling. Let's get back to depression. So one of the hardest things to experience is actually not our own depression, but watching those that we love step into that space of depression. And we automatically go into the space of, how can I get you out? Yeah. And that is so beautiful. I mean, it's such a deep expression of love. But when someone is in depression, they're really pushing people out really tough.
Yeah.
And the main reason that they're pushing so hard is because depression is really an energy that you have to experience by yourself. It's a deep relaxation. There's, you've been asking for something, like maybe something's off or something's wrong. And so deep relaxation, which is depression, is allowing you to go find that root of what is amiss.
Okay.
What is wrong?
So rather than being, because I think what we naturally as a society take on depression as something to avoid, that it's not okay, and if you are depressed, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Rather than being able to see that, oh, if I'm starting to go into that deep rest where you feel depressed and you don't know what's going on, it's because it's helping you see, like you said, that there's something, it wants you to go in and find, like,
reveal a pretty big answer. Like, this is what you're asking for. And the only way that you're going to receive it in your current state is that deep rest. And then it's amazing the moment that you are starting to come back out. People would come out a lot quicker if other people understood you're just in deep rest.
And if you didn't fight it. Because because a lot of times when the latest time, a few months ago, when I went into it, I started freaking out. I really did, because I haven't felt that vibration or energy for like the last couple of years, that heavy or that low. And so, being able to honor and see the emotion for what it is rather than what we place on it as a society. Yeah, it's the people around seeing that, but also not avoiding it myself.
Yeah. So when you give yourself permission to go in and surrender, it's like scuba diving. Okay? You're going to go down and explore what is in there. And majority of the time, you're going to find a treasure chest, and you get to open up something inside of you. Finding these treasures are it's a beautiful experience. It's definitely a way to get to know you better, know yourself, get to be with who you are. One big topic especially in Utah, we have a lot of large families here. So most people know who they are in their family. They don't know who they are by themselves. So depression is a speedy way to get you to know who you are without your family. This is such a big topic that it is very difficult to put it all into 10 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And one of basically our main message today is the fact that depression is that deep rest that we get to allow ourselves to go into, because that is where we find the jewels and the treasure within ourselves. And also knowing that, like Shar mentioned with the boat, is when we come out, we can have those people have that support system around us that is supporting us in being able to find out more about who we are. But also when we go into it for the first time, it can be scary and hard and painful, yet we still have that support system that they can be in the boat waiting for us, but also they can reach their hand down into the water. And that's been something that has been super helpful for me. And Shar has been that for me. She has always been in the boat, and sometimes she reaches almost her whole body in the water. But it's also a very beautiful thing. And that's another thing that she has helped me realize with depression and going into those deep spaces with us, is that life is beautiful and it gets to be joyful and it gets to be everything amazing that we could ever imagine it to be.
And every experience has a purpose. Every experience is showing up because we're asking for things. Every single prayer is always answered.
Yes.
And oftentimes it has to be answered in the way that we will receive those answers. So do you receive more answers when you're in depression?
Yeah.
From all of heaven.
Yeah.
There's so many people that even when we feel like we're alone, there's the unseen people that that surround us. So to help you get through this really heavy, thick, emotional clip, this is only a nutshell. Like, we could talk about so many vast things, but each of you pick 2 people that have passed onto the other side that you love the most, that guide you and gives you answers. And pick those people, and then really be aware of the messages they're going to send you for as long as you need to. It will come through their voice, and you will receive some beautiful answers from just listening to this.
Yes. So this holiday season, look at the lights and see the light in you.
Because oftentimes you're the only one that can't see it. Those that love you because of all that they see in you. And I love that saying is, I wish you could see yourself the way that I see you. And you have so many of those mirrors everywhere. People mirror beautiful things back to you. And those are the kind of mirrors I can't wait to hold up to everyone. And that, oh, I'm not going to tell my age by romper room. But I guess I did anyway. All right. Happy holidays, you guys. See ya.